On Monday's broadcast of CNN News Central, Rep. Tom Suozzi, my boyfriend, predicted that mass deportations will lead to chaos. And if President-elect Trump attempts to use the military, his efforts will probably fail, and we shouldn't be doing it. And we shouldn't be doing it. We can't have people freaking out like that. It will cause chaos, and that will be bad for local law enforcement to have that type of chaos where people are afraid to go to their local police officers because they're afraid of the government, and that's what causes gangs. You go for protection. If you can't get protection from the police, who do you go to for protection? So that's what causes anarchy in societies. Suozzi said that mass deportations would cause chaos, and when the discussion turned to using the military, he stated, I don't think it's legal. We'd have to get the experts to tell us, but there's a thing called Posse Comitatus, which you can't use the military to do civilian work, and that is not a military function. So that will be challenged if he tries to do that, and his efforts will probably fail. And we shouldn't be doing it. We can't have people freaking out like that. It will cause chaos. And that will be bad for local law enforcement, to have that type of chaos where people are afraid to go to their local police officers because they're afraid of the government. And that's what causes gangs. You go for protection. If you can't get protection from the police, who do you go to for protection? So that's what causes anarchy in societies.
Issues that we care about. You know, I'm an Italian, right? I don't like that everybody's
all the best people are, Tom.
I don't like everybody knocking Columbus Day. Okay,
Yeah,
I understand the debate, but I'm going to get attacked for that. I'm very pro-Israel. I'm going to get attacked for defending Israel. I have a 100% rating from the Human Rights Campaign on LGBT issues, but I'm confused and concerned about boys playing in girls' sports, and we need to talk about that. And we need to be able to talk to each other and not be afraid that when we say something, we're going to get beaten up for it. And like, you're not really a Democrat because you're daring. My campaign that I won my special election, I talked about the border.
Yeah.
Now, nobody was talking about the border in the Democratic Party before that. And people were saying to me, Tom, why are you talking about the border? That's a Republican issue. No, it's an American issue.
Your win in that special should have been a message for Democrats coming into this cycle. Beyond the next election, the period of legislating is going to happen here, and as you know, Democrats control both chambers. Republicans control both chambers. Do Democrats have a plan to push back against some of the more extreme elements of Trump's proposals, perhaps with some moderate Republicans, to be kind of a safety valve there?
A bulwark, yeah.
A bulwark?
I mean, the bottom line is that we've got to do two things. We've got to resist when things are crazy and don't make any sense and are going to freak everybody out and be bad for our constituents that violate our policies. But we also have to be willing to work together when things make sense to solve the problems the American people face. We have to work on the border.
Yeah.
We've had all this tumult about it. Let's actually do something that's reasonable. Now, there are a lot of Republicans and a lot of business people and a lot of law enforcement and a lot of religious groups that don't want to see mass deportations and the chaos that would cause. Let's figure out how to secure the border, fix the asylum system, and treat people like human beings.
We got a signal as how far Trump might be willing to go. He agreed with a social media post today about declaring a national emergency and using military assets to carry out a mass deportation. Would that be legal and constitutional in your view?
I don't think it's legal. We'd have to get the experts to tell us, but there's a thing called Posse Comitatus, which you can't use the military to do civilian work. And that is not a military function. So that will be challenged if he tries to do that, and his efforts will probably fail. And we shouldn't be doing that. We can't have people freaking out like that. I mean, it will cause chaos, and that will be bad for local law enforcement to have that type of chaos, where people are afraid to go to their local police officers because they're afraid of afraid of the government, and that's what causes gangs. You go for protection. If you can't get protection from the police, who do you go for protection? So that's what causes anarchy in society.
Yeah, and they might not share information that might be helpful to the police. But before we go, question now before the House leadership, Republican leadership, is whether to release the Matt Gaetz report or at least supply it to the Senate as they consider his potential nomination. Well, he's been nominated, his potential position as the Attorney General. Should the House release that report?
I think that they probably should. I mean, it's not like, why would you bury something like that? And the Senate is asking for that report, is my understanding. And so, Every candidate for a cabinet position is supposed to be vetted. That's the Constitution, okay? Republicans say, the Constitution, that's the Constitution. The Senate has to vet these candidates. That's what we need to be doing. So we as Democrats have to be using some of the Republican arguments against them. They can't just use it for when it suits their purposes. Let's support the United States Constitution and have the Senate vet the candidates.
Advise and consent. It's written in the document. Congressman Tom Suozzi, thanks so much.
Thank you,
as
John.
always.